lively bunch tonight. This is wonderful. All right. So show of hands. Who has been here before? Raise them high. Raise them high. Okay. Okay. Who has attended a real-world blockchain meetup hosted by Angelo and I? Show of hands. Okay.
I've been in this room.
Okay. So that's who has attended. Who's new? Newbies. Show of hands.
Ah, love it.
This is great. Very, very cool. So my name is Jason. That's Angelo.
Angelo.
And we are co-founders of a company called HelloSugoi. Some shameless branding up here. We are building an event ticketing platform leveraging the Ethereum blockchain. And in conjunction with starting our startup, we decided that we'd facilitate a meetup to activate the community, engage the community with regard to cryptocurrencies and blockchain and the decentralized internet. We started maybe back in April or so. This is the eighth one that we've done. We've had the pleasure of speaking up in San Francisco, and New York, at UCLA and UCR most recently. So things are building fast for us. So in addition to kind of evangelizing our product and our ticketing platform, we're also very much involved in the community and spreading the word about this amazing technology. So that's kind of our spiel. The idea of these meetups is to talk about real-world use cases for blockchain technology. As the space is very new, there's a number of applications that we haven't really thought about yet, or some people have thought about, and we'd like to activate and engage the community to get you guys thinking about the space. Whether you're a developer or you come from a biz dev background or marketing background, I think this could benefit all of us moving into the future.
So if there's ever a point like you can think of an idea or something like that, just shoot it out. We can probably like taper it or like run and tell you, yeah, it's very possible. Because this world also allows for new kinds of business models that may not exist because the sensors or the paperwork or the human manpower was just not there. But now that we have something like blockchain, it might make that weird business model palatable.
Right. Yeah. So this is a conversation, guys. This is not a lecture. So I want to make sure that if at any point, please feel free to ask questions. We're going to try to keep things on track, so we might have to icebox certain questions that will diverge us too much from the topic at hand, which is the Internet of Things and blockchain. But please feel free at any point to interrupt us and engage us. So we're just going to provoke and say some crazy shit, and you guys are going to be like, that's fucking stupid, and we're going to be like, no, it's not. We just say it. This is all about just kind of wrapping your heads around this crazy tech.
Can I ask a question for everybody?
Sure.
So like, raise your hand like if you're like a newbie person to blockchain in general, like you know nothing, you saw it yesterday.
Raise them high, guys.
All right.
So we know
who's someone who's like done some blockchain, that kind of understands the space, but just kind of doing a little bit? No, medium people. All right, some medium people. What about someone who's like knows what's going on and just kind of here to network and talk to people?
So I better question, who knows what Solidity is?
All right.
All right. Who codes in Solidity? Who writes smart contracts? Okay, I gotta kind of sort of. Gentlemen, I'm not sure.
I gotta like lay the land.
You know our audience. All right, so this is our agenda. We're gonna cover blockchain, cover Ethereum, cover IoT. I imagine most of you know what that is, but we'll just kind of briefly define those terms for you guys. We'll get into a discussion about the marriage of Internet of Things and blockchain technology, and then we'll have an open discussion. I'd like to maybe consider this all an open discussion. So that's kind of what we're going to be covering. Okay, blockchain. So who here, as opposed to me defining this, who here can define blockchain? Who has like a less than 30-second elevator pitch of blockchain? If no one does, that's fine, because I've got like 30 of them. Okay, blockchain is, on a very high level, a form of digital trust. So it enables the exchange of digital assets peer-to-peer without any intermediaries, without the need of a central bank or corporate entity. Basically, anyone can do business with each other without any intermediaries in between. I got some dudes. Come on, you guys. You don't need to sign in. It's cool. We have some, looks like we have a couple chairs in the back.
There's a chair right here.
We even have like canine interests. Everyone's getting into this decentralized tech. Okay? So on a high level, again, blockchain is a database that is immutable, which means unchangeable. It is transparent. Everyone has access to seeing the transactions that happen. And it is decentralized, meaning that not one person has a copy of the database, as in the case of the internet now, but everybody who contributes to the system has access to it, which is revolutionary in how it works. So here's a very quick example that Angelo and I can demonstrate. So let's say I have well, a ticket. I actually don't have it physically. I ran out of the ticket card. You want to grab one in your bag? We're going to kind of model a transaction that happens over the blockchain. Okay. So I'm person A, I'm Jason. I have this ticket and I want to send this ticket to Angelo. Boom. So Angelo has an address to which I'm sending that ticket. Think of an address as like an email address. And I have a corresponding private key. A private key as a password to your email address. Well, this transaction has been broadcasted now to a network of nodes, which kind of look like this little graphic right here. And these nodes are running this computational algorithm that validates the authenticity of the transaction. So it checks that I have sufficient funds, that Angelo has sufficient funds, and that this transaction is happening only once, not twice, which solves the problem of digital scarcity or double spending. So these nodes are running this encrypted mathematical algorithm that's almost kind of a puzzle, and the first node who cracks the code through this brute force algorithm is awarded new coins. So that's how new coins get awarded to the node that solves the problem. Once this is solved, it gets broadcasted to all the other nodes, which check to verify that indeed that I sent one ticket to Angelo. Once the transaction is verified, it gets logged onto a ledger or a block, which then says now Angelo has the ticket. So once the block becomes full, it then gets chained to the database, hence blockchain, in a way that is immutable. It is an append-only database, so you could only write to the database, and it uses crazy mathematical encryption to verify the security. Yeah, cool things like elliptical curve and asymmetric encryption and other cool things in math. So it's based on math. It's a currency exchange based on mathematics, which I would argue is pure logic, versus how our current financial systems work, which is also essentially based on math, but also the promises of
there's an entity that's kind of responsible.
That's right. In this world, there's no entity. So like in the Bitcoin world, you are your own bank. You manage your public keys, your private keys. You can send money to anyone in the entire world, and no one can stop you from doing that. Of any amount, doesn't matter what your credit score is, doesn't matter what country that person lives in. So that's really great for folks in countries where there's a...
No banking, like Venezuela.
Yeah, Venezuela, for example, or
I know Argentina. There's some issues right now. India would like remove, they said like the $1,000 bill doesn't count anymore, right? Like this whole thing that happened last year,
right,
where everyone was exchanging $1,000 rubles for actual like smaller denomination.
Cool little backstory, the Bitcoin white paper, and we'll likely reference white paper, but from a terminology standpoint, it's kind of like a thesis statement of a company, a promise, a vision of a company.
Business proposal, kind of.
Proposal, yeah.
So problems, how you're going to solve it.
Yeah. And in 2009, Satoshi Nakamoto released a white paper. Satoshi Nakamoto is this entity, man, woman group of people. Hey guys, do we have any room over here?
There's a stool over there in the back too.
Yeah, we got one in the back, and the other chairs, we got one over there. So this guy releases this crazy white paper, and in large part it was a response to the financial crisis in 2008. And it was looking to solve the problem of decentralized banking, or centralized banking. It was kind of trying to mitigate that. Do you guys have any questions about the blockchain so far? Yes?
You said the wallet is like an email, right? From my understanding, if you put the wrong address, you lose your coin. So if it's transparent, why can't you retrieve it?
Well, He asked if you send money to the wrong address, then you lose the money. Well, technically, it's like sending an email to, you misspelled one of the, someone's name, you misspelled it or something like that. It would just then go to that address. You probably wouldn't be able to receive those funds. They would still be available. What you need to, so what he's talking about is a wallet. So a wallet is essentially what it sounds like. It's a wallet that can live on your phone or an external hard drive, and it basically keeps track of the public key, which again is your public email address to which funds can be sent to you and to yourself and to other people, and a corresponding private key that is essentially the password. Now, if the password is compromised to your wallet, you're out of luck. It's like losing your keys and locking all of your gold inside the house. You cannot ever get back into that house. That is one of the caveats of being your own bank, is because you don't have this third-party trust who, if in the case you lose your funds, what's up, man? Come on in. If you lose your funds, in the case now, Bank of America will reimburse you and give the money back if they're compromised. In the crypto space, that is not the case, so it does require a bit of technical savvy. It's one of the barriers to entry that I know a number of companies are currently working on to make it a lot easier for customers with digital wallets to keep their passwords safe. I know from having worked at an Apple store many, many years ago that my primary job as an Apple genius was retrieving people's passwords. So I know that's a big problem and certainly something that the community is looking to solve as it grows.
So like when retrieving your funds, if you send it to the wrong address, I mean that's kind of like difficult to kind of prove, right? The system's going to check, they're like, yeah, you made this transaction from this thing to this thing, and then you're going to go back as a human outside of like the map. That like, no, I didn't mean to do that. It's kind of difficult to prove at that point. But there could be a company or a system where like, if you want to do that transfer, that entity in the middle will do the transfer for you, and there's an issue, you could complain to that company and they might be able to refund you. It's sort of like an insurance thing or like a part of the bank, because that's a service, but you can decide if you want to. And it might cost you some amount of your Bitcoin or Ether to actually execute that. So if you want to send 1 Ether, it might cost you 1.1 for that service, if you wanted it.
Let's talk about Ether, actually. That's a nice topic. So Bitcoin is its own blockchain, and Bitcoin is like cryptocurrency 1.0. And a couple of folks that have worked on the open source protocol of Bitcoin were saying, hey, this is really hard to develop applications that utilize this kind of technology. So we're going to create Ethereum, or Bitcoin 2.0. And Ethereum is what we're leveraging to develop the HelloSugoi app. So Ethereum is an application protocol. It's a blockchain that enables developers and entrepreneurs to more easily interact with the underlying blockchain technology through what's called a smart contract. And the smart contract is very unique to Ethereum in that it enables a developer to write a bunch of, if this happens, then execute this, in a way that enables programmable money to happen. So we're not just talking about the exchange of coins or digital money, but a token having a specific utility or purpose. So yeah, we have programmable blockchain. Ether, that Angelo is referring to, is the gas that is required to execute the contracts on Ethereum. So there's a bit of a cost involved, and Ether is the currency that enables that.
So like an escrow service might be an easy thing to kind of imagine, right? If you wanted to do something in Bitcoin and I need to pay Jason in 2 days, I would literally have to wait 2 days, and he would have to hope that I remember and actually do it. It'd be nice if there's just a way to like write some code where it go like, if this day release the funds or allow for release of funds, right? To do that in Bitcoin it's a little more difficult, but in Ether it's literally just like, if this date release funds, if not, reject.
It's like auto bill pay. We're kind of already using or interacting with smart contracts. But because Solidity is Turing complete, which means you can, anything you think of, you can write. The contracts can get much more utility-based and do much more than simply.
So we can write codes to kind of solve these sort of problems. You can kind of think about a small flow that we have. I think you have to.
Yeah, so why couldn't you just write a Python script that then just said, do Bitcoin transaction. Why do you need Ethereum?
Because Python doesn't work with, it doesn't compile down to the opcodes that run the scripting language of Bitcoin.
I think exactly. Like that is the problem. That the problem I specified can be solved in another way that we understand.
Right.
You could, and that'll be up to you. But now, for example, if I say, hey Jason, I'll pay you in 2 days, and I decide to run the script, he doesn't know that I actually have that funds. I can be lying to him. But in this sort of way, I can actually put it into the smart contract, and if he wants to verify that I'm going to give him the funds, he can actually just see it. He can see the 2 Ether that he's supposed to receive, and he can see it's in this contract, and he can see like, oh, if June 15th, he can release the funds.
So the benefit is trust.
Correct.
Exactly, digital trust. So what's interesting is the transactions are transparent. Everyone can see that person A or Jason sent a ticket to Angela. However, it's not my name, Jason. It's my name in the form of an encrypted hash that is pseudo-anonymous, and that you could, with some prying, find out that it leads back to me. But what's nice is that the database has all of this information that doesn't point back to an individual person. Now, there are certainly some token utilities that completely obscure the identities of those who are transacting on this blockchain network. But for the most part, it does not trace back to you as a person, but you as a string of alphanumeric characters that just a bunch of gobbledygook that computers understand. So that's what Jason looks like, and that's what Angelo looks like on the blockchain. Any questions about Ethereum, guys? Now, oh, yes, sir.
Does it have to be deployed in the Ethereum universe, or can it be deployed outside of it and it has its own?
The value proposition of Ethereum is the use of that specific network. And Solidity is based on the Ethereum blockchain.
So the question of if you launch your own Ethereum network, the answer is yes. You can literally you can copy the code, put it on a computer and run it, and like convince your friends to connect to it, and you can have your own Ethereum. But it won't have the same value that it does in the other network.
Because of more people using it and developing it.
So that's what's kind of called like private.
So it has to be generally part of the universe.
It doesn't have to. I mean, depending on the business case, you can decide to host your own stuff. And that is just up to the person. If they want a private chain, that means that they can control who has access to it, and that may make sense for some use cases. If they want to use the public networks to get the benefit of the value, or just the benefit of the fact that not having to run anything, right? Because if you do it yourself, you don't run your own computers, you could just use the public network to facilitate that.
I saw a hand in the back. Yes.
Is Ethereum supposed to be more secure than Bitcoin?
I wouldn't say more secure. I mean, like one of the problems with Bitcoin is the 51% attack, where someone kind of managed to have 51% of the processing power. That means that they could always control what transactions go into the next block. So an attack would be like, maybe I don't like Jason, and so because I have 51% of the CPU power, I can make a new block that doesn't include his transaction.
Fun fact though, the amount of power that runs the Bitcoin blockchain is equal to all the power on the island of Ireland. So in order to do this kind of attack, you would need to have the computing power of half the power used in the country of Ireland, which is not impossible, but pretty feasibly impossible.
I mean, like the way they've gotten to that number is like you can pool your resources, where like you all agree to kind of like share the workload. Right now, Ethereum is still using that same consensus algorithm, which is the proof of work that Bitcoin follows. It's already worked, and the process is going to work to change over to proof of stake, where you actually put some money or put some Ether in as a stake that this block is valid. That means that now the power requirement is nil, is nothing, right? It kind of think of it like randomly chooses like, oh, you're going to pick the next block. In order for you to do that, you have to put like 1 Ether. You're going to pick the next block. You're going to put 1 Ether. And the benefit of doing that is that you get like 1.1 Ether back down the road. But if you end up making fake blocks, the system will detect that and eventually kind of like take away your Ether that you have.
So when you said that, is the miner putting in that Ether?
Correct.
Yes, that's right.
So later down the road, right now the thought is that it might cost me 32 Ether to be a proof of stake miner, which is, I mean, it's getting more unreasonable, but that number might change. Where anyone can kind of have like just a computer somewhere, put like 100 Ether in it and just kind of walk away, and that'll be